Right, I want to recommend to you that you get on, and people often forget this because I guess our radio is so brilliant, our non-radio broadcasting is so brilliant. I want to recommend to you a piece on our opinions section on the app and on the webpage. It is entitled Identity Crisis. And I'll just read the intro to it. Gender ideology is infused right through our curriculum, says RGE spokesperson Fern Hickson. She knows of a school where pronouns are discouraged in order to prevent giving offence. It's by Yvonne Van Dongen, contributing writer to the platform, friend of the platform, really good writer. And it basically goes through just how crazy RSE, that is Relationship and Sex Education New Zealand, has become. But what I like about this piece, it talks about those advocating for change, and they take a reasonable position. They say, actually, some of this education is important and is needed. We mustn't throw out the baby with the bathwater. To find out more about this, we are joined now by Fern Hickson, spokesperson for Resist Gender Education. Fern, thank you for joining us. Welcome to the platform again.
Morena, Sean, thank you for having me.
All right. Tell us a little bit about your group, Resist Gender Education.
We were formed in 2021, and we're a group of teachers, both retired and still practising, parents and other members of the community, and we also include some members of the rainbow community. And we got together because we're all alarmed by the way gender identity ideology has taken root in schools.
Yeah.
And for those who don't understand what I mean by gender identity ideology, it's the belief that a person's feelings of how masculine or how feminine they are is what determines their sex.
Rather than their chromosomes.
Rather than their sexed body.
Yeah.
And so this ideology is taught to even preschoolers. It starts with picture books at preschool. For example, there's a couple of books, one's called Call Me Max, another one, Who Are You? And they're available in lots of school libraries as well as public libraries. And these picture books tell children that adults and doctors made a guess when they were born and guessed their sex. And sometimes they got it wrong.
All right. These books part of the curriculum or not?
They're recommended. So
by whom?
By the Ministry of Education in the guidelines.
Okay, Fern, I just want to come back to your group for a moment. How many people in your group?
There's about 9 or 10 of us who do all the work, all the volunteers.
Okay, and how many people on your Facebook page? I mean, do you have a membership or anything?
We don't have a membership. We don't have a Facebook page because we don't have the energy for fighting off all the abuse you get.
And the trolls, yeah.
But we do have a website and a Substack, and our Substack has more than 1,700 subscribers.
Okay, all right. Fern, are you associated with any other groups, religious, political?
No, we're a non-partisan and non-religious group, and we, all our volunteers, we represent the whole spectrum of political views and the whole spectrum of religious views. So we have a lot of atheists, and we also have practising Christians in our group.
Right. And you have gay people and straight people. Do you have any transgender people in your group?
No, but we do have supporters who are transgender.
All right. Well, I think it's a good article Yvonne's written. And I just said I'd liked it because she said, boy, I mean, back in my day, Nelson College biology class, Mr. Pete explained how it all worked to us. We all scratched our heads and felt scared. Sex education's come a long way since then.
Well, it needs to come a long way because today's children are exposed to an enormous amount of pornography, and they need to understand what a good relationship is and what consent is. What they don't need to be told is that if they don't fit sexist stereotypes, they should change their bodies to match their personality.
Yeah, this is interesting because also I would say I grew up at a time when homosexuality, I think amongst the people I knew, was accepted and recognised, but the stigma around that was huge. That changed awfully with AIDS, and we live in a more tolerant, and of course gay marriage, etc., etc. We live in a far more tolerant and healthier society. And you seem to be saying, actually, some of what might have been considered incredibly liberal stuff in the sex education curriculum is still pretty good, and we mustn't get rid of it all just because of the weird stuff.
Exactly. There's a lot of good information in there, but there's also falsehoods that are taught to kids, so extreme falsehoods that are actually disrupting their most basic perceptions. So they're being told that there's more than two genders, and that gender can change as many times as you like. They're being told that sex is on a spectrum, and they're being told that they were assigned a sex at birth, that, you know, their physically sex body has nothing to do with what sex they are.
And that basically the treatment for gender dysphoria is physical mutilation.
Yes, so what we have written to the Minister to ask, we've asked for two things. One is to replace the RSC guide with one that is scientifically factual and age appropriate. And the other thing is that we want common sense guidelines for schools around how to manage this ideology, which is right throughout schools. It's right throughout all of our entertainment industry, and kids are awash with it. There's even transgender characters in young children's cartoons on TV. So they're just being indoctrinated with this idea.
Who's running this? Who introduced all this mumbo-jumbo rubbish into our education system?
It came in with the RSE guide in 2020, which was written by academics who are believers in gender ideology. So it's just a belief system, and people are entitled to believe that if they want to, but they shouldn't be making.
But how do you get that right into an education system? Were there other groups involved or government-funded groups who ran this? What happens is that the curriculum is written in a very broad stroke way, and so let's just, for example, have a look at what it says about what you should teach intermediate age children. One thing you should teach them is to describe the characteristics of pubertal change and discuss positive adjustment strategies. So that's the curriculum. Now, nobody's going to argue with that. Yep.
Everybody's happy with that. But then what happens is that the ministry pays somebody, usually a small group of academics, they select them, and these academics write guidelines which are sent out to schools as suggested ways of teaching that very broad comment in the curriculum. And in the guidelines that describe the characteristics of pubertal change has morphed into know about pubertal change and the development of gender identities.
So it's completely ideologically captured.
Yes. So
can we identify the people responsible for that ideological capture and keep them away from kids?
Well, on the guidelines at the back, there's a whole list of who wrote it all. I don't remember them all offhand, but there were notably no parent groups were asked, and no gay or lesbian groups were asked. And one of the things that the glossary says is that same-sex attraction is actually same-gender attraction. So they're saying that someone who is same-sex attraction is actually attracted to any person who happens to wear clothing that is associated with the
Fern, someone has sent me a text that says, I think you'll find Chris Hipkins' mother was heavily involved in this.
No, I think that's
Thank you.
Falsity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clear that up straight away.
Her name is certainly not on the list of people I've seen
on
the back of the guidelines.